Everyone. This is Evie with Definitely Different Conversations. And today we are going to talk about what if money is never the problem. I have had definitely different encounters or like situations with money where I have been in absolute despair, where I was thinking of rather leaving this planet than to deal with all the things that were showing up with money. Now, a few years later, I came to discover that money is actually a great facilitator. It shows us ways where is money, let me ask a question, is the way that money is showing or not showing up in your life, showing you how you deal with your life and how you deal with everything else in your life? So, welcome to Definitely Different Conversations. What if money isn't the problem? What if money is never the problem? I would like to also state this is all the things that I will share with you guys here that are watching right now or like listening in the future. All these tools that I will reach out to and all the insights and awareness have been with great, massive contribution of the tools of Access Consciousness. Really grateful for that. I will also, for the people that are watching, I will show you some resources that I have been using. And I will also add the links to these things if you have an interest in really changing your reality, your current reality with money. One of the people that I love recommend with money and that has helped me tremendously is Shannon O'Hara. She is really brilliant with money, and yesterday, and she has a monthly membership called how is it called? Club Consciousness. And we were talking about money, and it's so interesting. I've made actually some notes about that class that were so brilliant. One of the questions that I've heard for the first time from her is if I would have my reality with money, what would it be? And notice that the question is, or like you can do it a little bit different as well. If I would have my reality with money, what would that be like? Instead of asking like, what would it look like? Be like is you're asking the energy to show up what that is for you. How many conclusions, decisions, and judgments do we have of what it means to have money in your life, what it means to not have money in your life, what it means about what it tells about you not having money, like all of that. What if asking to how it should look like is basically already a judgment. So everything that is, will you and create destroy that? Times God's in good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, buckle, shirts, boys and beyonds. For this is a clearing statement from Access Consciousness. I'm not going to explain a lot about it, but if you've never heard about it, you can check it out at theclearingstatement.com. And Dr. Ding here will explain you very beautifully that this is like a magic, it's like a magical energetic eraser of blockages, everything that has been stuck. So this is very short. So that's the weird phrase. So yeah, like how many of all of us and of you guys watching have been functioning from somebody else's reality with money? Like when you look at the world around you, when you look at your friends and family, how many people do you know that have absolute joy and absolute ease and an absolute like vulnerability and openness about money? I have to say, I don't. Although I would, the people that I have been learning a lot from, they have it. So like Shannon O'Hara, Gary Douglas, and Dr. Dan here, the creators and founders of the Tools of Access Consciousness, they have a very different reality with money. And the tools that I will offer you in this are coming from them. And one of them, the first one, is, what if you start to be clear with what your reality with money is? So if I would have my reality with money, what would that be like? And leave it open. Don't go into finding answers straight away. What if that also is you wanting to have a conclusion of this will be the solution and this will be the ultimate tool that will change it once and for all? So what if money is a constant state of creation, and everything that doesn't allow you to see it like this or know it like this, good and bad, right and wrong, pot and buckle, and shirts, boys and yawns. And two things that have inspired me tremendously with money that will totally blow your mind is actually a quote from Dr. Dane here and a quote from Brandon Watts. It's absolutely totally different, and it will blow your mind. So I'm going to start with the quote of Brandon Watts. So how much are you hating the life you're creating so you won't choose the money to create it? And in the meanwhile, blaming the money for that. So I don't know if that lights up some light bulbs for you guys, but when I heard that for the first time, it was like, fuck that. Like, how many of you are really inspired by your life? Like, do you wake up and do you say, fuck yeah, I get to do this again, and I get to do this again, and no. One of the people, I think it's Simone, she had like a really beautiful business called The Joy of Business. And she says, what if money follows joy? So yeah, like, how much are you hating the life you're creating? And therefore, you never will create and choose the money to create that life because you simply don't like it. So everything that brings up good and bad, right and wrong, pot and buckle, and shirts, boys, beyonds, it's like, how much has money been a facilitator of you and your life and what's showing up? I love it how Shannon says, like, look at what your life is demonstrating, and that is always what will be true. Like, how often, and I have been there and done that so many times, where you're like airy-fairy asking for this or you're asking for that, but and then at the same time you are making yourself wrong because you're asking something from the universe, but it's not showing up, so you must be wrong. What if, have you been really asking it, and is it something that you really desire? And without making yourself wrong, what if you start looking right now in your life, what is showing up for you right now? And this can also be a good thing. Like I've noticed, if you're creating some really cool shit and you're not acknowledging it, that cool shit won't grow. Like, every time you negate the stuff that you're creating in the world, you destroy it. So how many of you guys haven't been willing to receive the gift that you are? So you constantly negate what could show up and what could contribute to that, including money. So everything is times Godzilla, good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, buckle, and shirts, boys and yawns. And it's like, hi, Marianne. Yeah, it's always good to hear that again. One of the books is Money Isn't the Problem, You Are. And it's I think it's a very progressive title. you might be really attracted by it, or you might be really appalled by it or get angry by it. But what if it's like that? What if money never is a problem? What if you are? What if it's yours? And not to say that you're a problem, but like, what if money isn't showing up very easy in your life? What are you basically refusing to receive? I've started to notice for me that one of the things that I have been wholeheartedly refusing to receive is me. And like, okay, so cool. So everywhere you guys have been refusing to receive, all of you, good and bad, right and wrong, put on poco interest, boys and youngs, what are you really afraid of? Are you afraid of being successful and being all of you, or are you really afraid of failing? So one of the things that I've noticed is that how though failing seems more comfortable, I'm actually more no. I'm actually more fearing succeeding in life. And what have you already decided that you are not? Good and bad, right and wrong, por un poco insurance, boys and youngs. One of the last months, what I had to really face is all these years, as long as I can remember, I always had this point of view that I was like mean and evil, and really trying to hide it for me and for other people, that I'm evil. The thing is, usually what you have decided about you is actually never really true of you. Where have you picked it up? Is it from like a past lifetime? Is it being projected from family or friends or whatever? So everything that is good and bad, right and wrong, put on poco insurance, boys and youngs, and return it all back to sender with consciousness attached. So they get to deal with it if they want to. So what are you really truly capable of? Like, what are you, this is the Talk to the Entities Advanced tool. What are you the source of that you're not acknowledging? I kept asking that question, and I did not want to receive what the question was showing me. And at one point I was actually creating exactly what that question was. And I had to really face that although I was refusing to, how do I say it? Like I was judging myself to be mean and to be a bitch, that I didn't really want to see what I was creating. And at one point I had to see that I actually was really capable of evil. I was really capable of creating evil. And I'm not talking about evil of going on a killing spree and killing people or stuff like that. It was so refined and so like covert and hidden for me. It was like everywhere I wasn't choosing consciousness, and everywhere I wasn't choosing to create it. So it showed up in, like, for example, buying somebody's judgments, or buying somebody's lies, or buying the scarcity and the lack and the few possibilities that this reality wants you to believe that is. So everywhere I was more committed to this reality, everywhere I was more committed to other people's points of views, that was actually me sustaining the evil in the world. So everything this brings up to now, good and bad, right and wrong, por un poco insurance, boys and youngs, what if the reason that evil does exist in this world is basically where we buy everything around us. We buy the judgments of, for example, I'm thinking of how many wars have started because of religion. how many rightness and wrongness and judgments and conclusions and actually misabuse of power have been created with religions. And everywhere we buy that, everywhere we keep selling the story to everybody else, is that a way of us where we are helping evil and unconsciousness to exist? What if the true evil on this planet is basically the unconsciousness? If we would be so conscious, would we be capable of choosing somebody like Trump to be in power of the United States? Right before, I had a few people helping with moving some stuff here in the house, and we were talking about politics. And it's like all the things that we buy from our culture, that we buy from politics, that we buy from the world, that this is how it should be. Like, I haven't seen a lot of like institutions that are really looking forward to create something that is sustainable for all of us, like really like future wise. How many of us are like maintaining all the structures that keep everything as it is? And this is what happens. Like, what if a question such as, well, what else is possible here? Or, well, how does it get any better than that? Will open up the space for everything that we really try to hold on to, so that this reality can be this reality. What if you can just let it go with asking a question? So, money. That was a little bit of a stray. So yeah, how powerful are you guys? And I see, because these little shows are like half an hour. It's very short. So I will go over into this beautiful thing about Dr. Dane here that he has about money. So what if poverty is not about money? What if poverty is a lack of being that you enforce on yourself, and the lack of joy you have in your life? So I think with the conversation that we've been having is like how many of you guys have been, I'm saying yes to myself as well. Been there, done that so many times. Have you been giving yourself up in favor of everyone and everything else? What are you really capable of? Good and bad, right and wrong, put and poke on boys and youngs. What if, have you been giving up joy? That actually, I did a body class yesterday, and it was about going beyond perfectionism and drugs and insanity. And one of the things that did came up is, what have you been giving up? Like, have you been giving up joy? Have you been giving up freedom? Have you been giving up ease so you could fit in and be like everybody else? And are you inspired by the people that you see around you? Like, thing is, like, if you're not inspired by the people around you, why would you buy their stuff about money? Why would you buy their stuff about everything that they are doing? So what if you oh, thank you, Marianne. Yes. So what if so one of the cool questions is also like, what is my reality with money and where can I find it? So with that question, what if you can start pulling in these energies that are very different that you have now, that have energies of money that are actually really true for you. Now note, this can be uncomfortable because it's different. Like, how many of us have we been choosing. You're so welcome, Miruna. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. Like, how many of us are really comfortable with the things that are actually not really working for us? Like, I grew up in an environment where money was used to control one another. Money was used to like really do all the things. We call it the distraction implants and access consciousness, where we like do blame, shame, regret, and guilt with money. And an example can be that, well, I have given you this amount of money, so you should do this for me, or aren't you an ungrateful brat, or like all of that stuff. So I had some very fucked up views about money that I really had to force myself to look at, because like of that, I wasn't really willing to even have money in my world. So I was always an easy big spender. Money was going out faster than it was coming in. And but I also have to state, and this is actually really great home play as well, like, what are you already so great at with money that you have never been willing to receive before? Because it doesn't match your current definition of creating money. So everything that is good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, buckle, and shirts, boys and beyonds. One of the things that I do very easily somehow is I create money in very different ways, not necessarily showing up as coin or money on the bank. Like, for example, I think 2 days ago, I really needed to have some stuff moving on that particular day, on that particular time, and people were sick and people couldn't help me. And I was like, well, okay, is now the time? Yes, I did it anyway. And I kept asking, what else is possible? How does it get any better than that? And then with the mantra from Access, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And I came there and everything was so much ease, joy, and glory. Like, on my own, I created help to move my washing machine. I created help to move some really like, how do you call it? Oak furniture, but like solid oak. And at one point I was arriving here at my place. It was almost midnight. Oh no, it was like around 10. And they were like, the furniture was on my roof of my car. And I was like, okay, well, what else is possible? And at that time, somebody that did a session with me a while back ago was arriving that same time, because he had to take something from that building where he works. And he helped me. It's like, what if that is also ways of creating money? So again, to that, everything that you're not acknowledging cannot grow. So what can you acknowledge about you now that you have never been willing to acknowledge before, that you have been refused to acknowledge before? So everything that is good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, buckle, lane, shirts, boys and beyonds. To come back to Dr. Dane, poverty is never about money. Poverty is a lack of being you enforce on yourself. Like right now, in this instance, when you check in with your body and you cut off everywhere you're aware of everybody else, everybody that is in your universe, and tap into your being. Is your being, first I'm going to say this. So everywhere you have decided that your being is your body, good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, buckle, and shirts, boys and girls. So check your body and check your being. Is your being smaller than your body, or is your being greater than your body? So this is not a question to make you right or wrong wherever you're at. So if you have your being crammed into your body, what if right now you expand out bigger than your body, bigger than the room you're in, bigger than the city you're in. Keep expanding, bigger than the country you're in, bigger than the continent you're in. Expand out globally, bigger than the earth, and into the universe, into the ground. So with that being everywhere, how much more can you receive the universe's gifts that may not necessarily show up as cash, but will allow you to access more of you? What if you're not alone? Everywhere you have bought that you're in this alone. Everywhere you have given up. Everywhere you have given up on you. Everywhere you have surrendered to this reality. Good, bad, and wrong, bottom line, church. Truly, who else and what else is out there that is so willing to contribute to you? Talk to the entities. This is Talk to the Entities tool. What if every day you wake up and you ask yourself, or you can ask the universe, this is, I love asking, like, universe, can you show me? Universe, can you show me what being is? What is that? Because, like, you know, that chick, Evie, from Definitely Different Conversations is talking about being, like, what the fuck is that? Yes, that's great. So what if everything that you, where you're like in that kind of a point in life, what if you can turn it into a question? What question could you ask? And what if one of these questions is like, I have no fucking clue what it is. Universe, can you show me? What is being? And this is, I think this is a tool from Dr. Dane here, from Being You, Changing the World. Great book, great class. If you were truly being you, who would you be? This is a tool that I go to if I find myself like really sad and miserable and like everybody else, because I, like, how many of you have like really the capacity to energetically be energetically vibrational with everybody else? So everything that is good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, bottom, natures, boys, beyonds. What's your fucking vibration? The other day I went to the park and I got pulled to stand at a tree and like really lean into this huge big trunk. And fuck, that tree was so vibrating so differently. And just me leaning on the tree could really tap into that same energy and really mimic that same vibrational energy of that tree. And again, like with that question, like, what is my reality with money and where can I find it? What if it's one of these choices where you don't even think about it, you just do it? You're like, oh, tree, I want to stand next to the tree. And then you stand there and you're like, this feels so good. Like all the molecules in your body are like expanding. There's more space and you feel really the energy moving through your body. Is that something that we really see? Like, how many people around us are really alive or like are really being? Like, how many people are having a great lack of being? And everywhere we have been duplicating that, everywhere we have been trying to understand that, which means you're trying to stand under them. So you make yourself even smaller. So you try to get why they are choosing that, but actually it doesn't really make sense for you. Everything that is good and bad, right and wrong, bottom, bottom, line, shirts, boys, meons. What if exactly that, like you being that weird little, weird different person that sees the world very differently, and you desire something very differently, you start with asking a question like, okay, so well, that isn't really working. I'm not really inspired by all those people. So what is it for me? And really give yourself the allowance and the space for it to show up for you. What else is possible with money that you don't think is possible, that if you would allow the possibilities would actualize a total different reality with total ease? Good and bad, right and wrong, por un poco de interest, boys and youngs. So I highly recommend, if you want to dive into, I highly recommend, I'm gonna, like I said before, I'm gonna put in some links with all the stuff that has been inspiring me to choose more of me. Money isn't the problem, you are. I'm thinking of Simone Molasses, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. Awesome book. One of a really cool book as well is from Jatissa and Stephen Bowman, Prosperity Consciousness. Also really great different ways of looking at money, so you can actually start to have something different. Because basically, what if your point of view about money creates actually your reality? So all the current points of views that you have of money, what if it's time to change them? What different point of view could you have about money that would actually start to open up a totally different possibility? A great book as well is How to Become Money Workbook from Gary Douglas. It's like, it's 13 questions, and it's a whole conversation that has been channeled through Gary from Rasputin. And it has really cool tools in about money. And every time you read the book, something changes. So yeah, that I would say, if you really desire to change anything in this, well, get to work and do something different. So I love this quote of Einstein. Albert Einstein is like, his definition of insanity is choosing the same thing all over again and hoping for a different result. So how many of you guys are actually wishing for something different, but you keep choosing the same things? So what can you choose different today that will allow money to show up right away and in the future? And everything doesn't allow it. Uncreate, destroy, times, God's in, good and bad, right and wrong, por un poco, dangerous, boys and girls. I'm going to check if there are some questions. No. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It's lovely to read your comments. What else is possible? And you can always contact me. I will definitely do something more about this. Because this, I would actually really say special thanks to Crystal Crawford as well. She was the one that inspired me to do this. There's like a really great program called Relentless Profit. It's a great business program that has me tremendously to like push myself forward. One of the things that she says is, what if you do a call or anything, whatever you desire, well, of something that you think you're really fucked up about? So, hence, and just having this conversation with you guys is already showing me how not fucked up I am. So what inspiration can this be for you as well? So thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. And how does it get any better than that? Bye.